Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
We begin tonight with breaking news. An Amber Alert has just been issued for this young girl, Iris Crum. It's been almost a week since the 7-year-old disappeared. Authorities say she could possibly be with her mother, Kalia Zadira. The TBI issued an endangered child alert, but agents say growing concern about this girl's safety caused them to up it to an Amber Alert. Now to crisis in the classroom and improvements at a metro high school once labeled a dropout factory. The graduation rate at Glencliff High School in South Nashville is up from 53% to 60% in the past year. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live after talking with a Glencliff teacher who says while there's still work to do, that criticism stings.
Yes, well, MNPS says that Glencliff's graduation rate increased by 7% over the year, up to 60%, but this is still well below the district average of 81%.
Sam Singer, a literacy coach at Glencliff High School, and her colleagues are trying to change the image of Glencliff High School by exposing the challenges they face. After Glencliff has been called a dropout factory and received an F grade from the state for school performance.
Oftentimes we have students enroll who are over age and maybe missing lots of credits, or maybe are a young parent themselves or need to work to help support their family.
Singer explains it's a complicated issue and says they don't have the resources to keep these children enrolled, especially when she says they are dealing with housing insecurity, limited daycare options, and having to work to help their families. And she adds for a lot of these students, English is a second language. State Representative Jason Powell says he supports Glencliff High School and used to teach there.
I do not think the school is getting the adequate resources. A lot of that because of the way we have shifted money as a state. Many of those efforts I've opposed because we are diverting money away from the public education system.
Representative Powell blames the state, but J.C. Bowman, CEO of Professional Educators of Tennessee, blames the district more.
Do you think it's more of a district issue or a state issue for this school?
We're good at PR in public schools, but we're really poor at communication.
Bowman says instead of sending out letters, the school district and the school need to work together and figure out how to fix the problems in order to increase the rate of graduation and the overall school experience.
Singer says she'd like to see the city add more affordable housing and more resources for lower income families in the future. Reporting live from North Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Caitlin, thank you. Fox 17 News has been following the problems at Glencliff High School now for more than a year. To see all of our previous reporting, go to our website, fox17.com, and search Glencliff. Crisis in the Classroom is Fox 17 News' ongoing commitment to our viewers to expose problems in our schools and to find solutions. If you have a story that you would like to see us do, send an email to news@fox17.com, or you can phone our tip line 615-266-4149. In Operation Crime and Justice tonight, a Nashville man's behind bars facing child porn charges. Metro Police say James Austin had more than 30 files showing child sexual abuse on the cloud connected to his cell phone. He is charged with sexual exploitation of a minor. New tonight, a big change in the flow of traffic in and around the Nashville airport became permanent today. Let me show you exactly what's going on here. Let me close this out so we can bring you up the graphic that we're trying to show you. All right, I'm told we're having a little trouble with the map. Well, there it is, so I can continue. Let me show you what's different. Now, here is where the Nashville airport is, right off of Interstate 40. And here is the thing that is going away. This is exit 216C, where you're coming off of Interstate 40 and trying to get on Donaldson Pike headed northbound. That ramp is going to be closed. So how do you get around there? Well, from now on, if you want to get northbound on Donaldson Pike, Pike or southbound, you get off at the Donaldson Pike exit, which is just before this, so that would be 216B. Come straight up to Donaldson Pike, sit there at the light. You can either go left or right. And again, that change is permanent. It has been in the works for quite some time. It's all part of a new Interstate 40 interchange being built to handle expanded traffic as the Nashville airport seeks to get new flights from around the globe.
There's really 6 European countries that we're looking at right now. Iceland, Ireland, Netherlands, Germany, France, and possibly Italy. So we're traveling, our members of our team are traveling to Bogota, Colombia later this month for a World Routes Conference, and that's where we basically do speed dating with airlines, trying to convince them that they can be profitable if they come into Nashville.
I like that, speed dating with the airlines. The airport is hoping to lock down some of those new international routes within the next 12 months. We'll keep you posted. Trending tonight, how much you end up paying if your car gets towed in Nashville. The numbers are staggering. The fee just for a tow truck can be as high as $225. And once your vehicle gets to their tow lot, another $200 in fees. And lastly, there is an $80 charge per day to store your vehicle. Doesn't take long to run through the paycheck that way, does it? Now, some Metro Council members say these fees are just too high, and they're considering regulations to put a cap on them. Obviously, this is a talker, and we want to know what you think. Do you consider those towing fees here in Nashville to be excessive? 426 people have weighed in, and not surprisingly, 91.5% say yes. I think what you just described in terms of fees is excessive. 8.5% say no, we think it's all right. Now, the poll is live right now. If you'd like to cast your vote, get out your smartphone, scan the QR code there on the right-hand side of your screen. It will take you to our X page, which is @Fox Nashville. You can vote, and we will update the results for you later in the newscast. New tonight, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell spotlighting some of the city's infrastructure needs. He says the city has done very little in recent years to address public transportation issues, which he says is forcing many people to spend money they don't have.
The average monthly cost of owning a car, according to AAA, has now surpassed $1,000. And for a lot of Nashville households, that, again, is on par with the overall cost of housing.
Mayor O'Connell is now in the process of formulating a new transit plan that he expects to ask residents to help pay for via a referendum that will be on the ballot in November. In your community tonight, a call for Nashville city leaders to make our streets safer for pedestrians. A group of Nashvillians braving the rain today, trying to draw attention to the lack of safe walking areas along Dr. D.B. Todd Boulevard in North Nashville. 2 years ago, a woman was hit and killed in this area as she tried to cross the road. Safe walking advocates say we just need to make some simple fixes.
There's not crosswalks at like all the intersections. There's not crosswalks at the bus stops. So even just having more crosswalks, lighted crosswalks, or having even like, if it's possible, small medians to encourage drivers to slow down and give pedestrians the right of way.
Representative with the National Department of Transportation, NDOT, was on hand today listening to these residents' concerns. Covering the Capitol tonight, state lawmakers sign off on a bill that will allow veterinarians to report suspected animal abuse. It updates an existing law allowing the doctors to contact police when they have suspicions. It will also allow vets to testify in court without violating the client-patient confidentiality rules. This bill is now headed to Governor Bill Lee for his signature. New tonight here from the rabbi of the Canadian family killed earlier this week in a fiery plane crash in West Nashville. The pilot, 43-year-old Victor Dotsinko, his wife Rima, and their 3 children were all killed in a crash beside Interstate 40 near White Bridge Road. They were all members of their local synagogue in Canada. Their rabbi tells Fox 17 News that the father often volunteered his time installing windows and that he would often stop by the synagogue just to pray. The rabbi says he married Victor and Rima Dotsinko at their wedding, and he also named all 3 of their children.
Victor and Rima were unbelievable parents. They had a beautiful relationship between themselves, and we should learn from the way they live their lives by being kinder, by being nicer to one another, and by thinking about what ultimately matters in life, the ultimate goodness and kindness, things that we do.
Such a sweet family they sound like. The NTSB expects to release a preliminary report on the cause of this crash later this month.
Well, we really didn't get quite as much rain today as what we were thinking yesterday. Still not seeing much on this current radar image. I do think that we see some showers moving through overnight. I'll have more details on that coming up in just a bit.
Also ahead, digging deep, Fox 17 News investigates a history of problems at a Midtown bar where a man died after a scuffle with a bouncer.
Marquette battles Xavier, and in prime time, UConn squares off against Providence.
Can you believe this? Saturday at 1:30 on Fox 17.
Fox 17 News, your code red weather station. Alerts, empowers, protects.
National Airport responding to Metro Council resolution calling for a reprieve for a popular Donaldson restaurant. Metro Council passed a resolution, had a petition drive as well, asking the airport to reconsider canceling the lease for Monell's at the Manor on the edge of the airport's property on Murfreesboro Road. But the airport's top man says it is just not possible, and he explains why in a letter to members of council. Doug Krulin says the restaurant building, Monell's the Manor, is old, has structural and fire safety concerns, as well as Americans with Disabilities Act compliance issues. Plus, Monell's at the Manor, he says, does not serve airline passengers, and that's their main mission. Airport leaders say they need that land that the restaurant sits on for expansion and to meet FAA grant requirements. Continuing coverage now on the Tin Roof, a popular Midtown bar and restaurant where a man died after a fight with a bouncer. The patron suffered a fractured skull and spent 16 days in the hospital until he was taken off life support this week. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse tonight digging into the history of security problems at Tin Roof.
We've got the 2022 consent order right here, in Tin Roof actually got in trouble 2 years ago for having unlicensed security guards. The state fined the bar a little under $3,000. The state checked back in May of 2022 on Tin Roof's security licensing and its bouncers. Come to find out, Tin Roof broke the law twice, mainly for knowingly hiring security guards who do not hold valid registration cards. Tin Roof had the licensing, but 11 out of their 16 guards did not. And the state confirming with Fox 17 News one of those guards back in 2022 was Richard Cornelius. The Department of Commerce and Insurance website shows Cornelius got his license September of 2022. But his license is suspended after what took place at Tin Roof last month. I asked Tin Roof about what happened in 2022. Tin Roof CEO Bob Franklin says Richard is no longer at Tin Roof. After the enactment of Dallas law in January 2023, all security guards are and have been licensed in compliance with the law and regulations, in addition to their existing training. Tammy Barrett lost her son Dallas in August of 2021. Barrett died of asphyxiation at Whiskey Row after unlicensed guards pulled him to the ground and held him on the floor.
When is it going to end? We have to get a handle on this violence that keeps coming from security guards and enforcement, because it's completely out of hand.
Dallas's law is a direct response to 22-year-old Dallas Jordan Barrett's death. Dallas's law requires more training with a focus on de-escalation practices for security guards. We're going to continue to follow this story, so stick with us at fox17.com. Reporting in Midtown, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And today we really didn't get as much rain as what we were talking about last night. The models were kind of overdoing the rain chance for us today. The official reading from the airport from this morning, really, because we were pretty much dry throughout most of the afternoon, just a little less than 1/4 of an inch of rain, 68 degrees. That was our high temperature. So warmer than normal for this time of year. Typically we're right at 60, so we went 8 degrees above that. Here's you a live look over Broadway. It is a pretty crowded night on Broadway. The weather really hasn't been too bad for us either. Again, that rain chance has has held off and not seeing much rain right now. I'll show you radar here in just a second, but not seeing anything on the camera. 60 degrees. That's our current temperature. It is 9:19 right now. That's our average high temperature for this time of year. So we are still holding on to some of that warmth. It's going to be a mild night across Middle Tennessee, up into southern Kentucky too. Temperatures right now in the 50s and 60s for most locations. 54. That's the current temperature over there in Crossville, one of the cooler spots on the map. A couple of upper 50s down here in our more southern spots. 57 in Columbia, 57 in Lewisburg. We're at 61. That's the current temperature up there in Clarksville. So here's the radar view. Really not seeing much. We'll zoom in just a second, but this is the cold front that's going to be moving through tonight. That should help bring in a chance for some additional showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms. The good news though, not expecting any severe weather as this round of showers, maybe a few storms moves through later on tonight. So we had some of those showers move through earlier today, but really this was not too widespread. A lot of this over the past 3 hours has remained in areas along and to the west of Interstate 65, but more of this is going to start to build up into our northwestern zones here in just a little bit. That cold front's going to keep on getting closer. That's going to help some showers and a few storms develop. That's going to keep on sliding to the east. This is the midnight picture right here. Maybe a couple of pockets of some moderate rainfall. Overall, though, not expecting anything too bad for us for tonight. That's midnight. This is 2 o'clock. It's still going to be shifting off to the east. Nashville, we still keep that rain chance from midnight to 2 a.m., even a little bit after that. This is the 4 o'clock picture, still kind of lined up right there along Interstate 40 and just a little bit to the north of that. Another little second round is going to try to move through by mid-morning tomorrow. That's 7 o'clock right there, and we could see another few patches of some moderate to heavy rainfall around the plateau. That's going to clear on out of here fairly quickly, and then by noon I think a lot of us are going to be dry tomorrow, but we still could see a few light showers. But any of this that moves through in the afternoon, just some very light, some of those straggling showers, those aren't really going to cause you any sort of issues. The bulk of this is going to come through overnight. The good news, like we were talking though, the severe weather threat for tonight, that's going to stay to the south of here, and then for Saturday that severe weather threat is going to stay to the south and to the east of us, so not going to have to deal with any severe weather tonight. And I'll show you that 7-day forecast because we have a nice warm-up coming. I'll show you that here in just a bit.
The immigration debate sparked a memorable moment during the State of the Union. I'm Kayla Gaskins with that story straight ahead.
I'm Fox 17 News morning anchor Justin McFarland. Your flu shot next year could have a different formula. We're going to tell you how.
I've been telling everyone.
Liberty. Liberty.
How many people did you tell? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty. Liberty.
Immigration and border security featured prominently last night in the President's State of the Union speech. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins tonight with reaction to that address from people on both sides of the aisle. And you can let us know what you think by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during our story.
As President Biden made his way to the podium Thursday to give the State of the Union address, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene handed him one of these pins, demanding he say the name, Laken Riley.
I know how to say the name.
Laken Riley. The 22-year-old was murdered in Georgia last month, allegedly by a migrant from Venezuela, her death turning into a symbol of the country's broken immigration system. When Biden addressed immigration Thursday evening, Greene continued to yell.
Not really.
Prompting this apparently ad-libbed response where Biden did say her name and held up the pin.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal.
Critics pointing out he called her Lincoln instead of Laken. Others zeroing in on his use of illegal to describe the alleged murderer.
Now, you should have said undocumented, but that's not a big thing, okay? What's the big thing about it?
Representative Joaquin Castro calling Biden's rhetoric dangerously close to language from Donald Trump. The Biden administration previously put out a memo advising the use of undocumented to describe people who enter the country illegally. Biden didn't offer any concrete action plans from the executive branch to fix the border, instead urging Congress to pass a bill.
When I left office, we gave Joe Biden the most secure border in U.S. history. What's happened now is a horror show.
With no signs of the crisis at the southern border improving, it remains a key issue for Americans as they pick who to vote for in November. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
Now, during that story, we had a QR code up linking you to a poll asking if you thought last night's State of the Union speech would have an impact on how you vote in November. The results are in. 353 people voting. 84.4% say no, won't impact their vote. Our thanks to all who took time to cast a ballot in our poll.
TikTok users angry with Congress over a bill that could get rid of the app in the United States. I'm Atrell Nashar on Capitol Hill with whether that's making lawmakers change their minds.
Plus, going to
a month or get 4.49% APR or 1,000 bonus cash. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by B.F. Myers Furniture.
Sometimes it feels like an issue of pointing fingers.
Tonight in Operation Crime and Justice, Fox 17 News pressing city leaders for answers about crime in North Nashville on behalf of the people who live and work there. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker has been drawing attention to issues in and around Buchanan Street now for the better part of a year.
I've door knocked for countless hours in this community speaking to the neighbors. I've also gone to community meetings with police, as well as spoken to the businesses in this area. But this week I was finally able to sit down with the district councilman after a year of trying.
From the shootings to the loitering in and around Buchanan Street, Councilman Brandon Taylor says it's not a quick fix.
These problems took decades to create, and I don't know if it's going to be fixed overnight.
And while many can agree that this stretch of North Nashville has been a major concern for those who live and work in the area, not everyone can agree on who's to blame for the ongoing crime.
Lots of people I spoke to tell me that it's the liquor store with the loitering that is to blame. But the attorney for the business tells me that it's that abandoned building across the street where the problem lies. However, code says they're not the issue. So as a councilman, what are you doing for your district when everyone's just pointing their finger elsewhere? Or how are you going to take the lead on that?
I talk with codes, I talk with Metro Police, I talk with NDOT in regards to the hanging out within the alleyways. It's a grand issue, right? And so there's not a one magic pill that's going to fix it.
Councilman Taylor says it's more complex than meets the eye and that city leaders are working behind the scenes.
How do we, one, help these people, and the people that don't want to be helped, what do we do to help manage that? If they hang out at the store and they loiter at the store, at some point, if that store goes away, they go somewhere else, and then it may not be your problem now, but then as a council member, it may be another neighbor's problem.
Taylor says he speaks with Commander McLean on a weekly basis in an effort to tackle the crime issues, but it's also up to the community. Today, we asked the attorney of the liquor store and market what they're doing to curb the loitering. We also forwarded him this photo from a Fox 17 News viewer who says someone barbecuing in their parking lot doesn't help these issues. However, we did not hear back.
And while members of the community tell me that they feel the crime is getting much worse, Councilman Brandon Taylor says it's actually gotten better in comparison to previous years. However, he admits there's still a lot of work to be done. As I mentioned earlier, I've covered this story for almost a year. I'll continue to stay on the issues of crime as I've stayed in contact with the DA's office. For now, in North Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
New tonight, a bipartisan coalition in Congress moving quickly now on legislation that would ban TikTok here in the U.S. But as Fox 17 News' Atrell Nashar shows us, millions of American TikTok users are none too happy about it.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Congress taking on the parent company of TikTok, moving with lightning speed on legislation that would prohibit TikTok in the U.S. unless it separates from Beijing-based parent company ByteDance, which under Chinese law is obligated to provide user data to the Chinese Communist Party. Just 48 hours after the bill was introduced, it passed unanimously out of committee.
The ayes have it and the bill is adopted.
It heads to the full House for a vote next week.
It's about foreign adversary control of the news and the ability to spy on Americans.
The editor-in-chief of ByteDance is himself the secretary of the very Chinese Communist Party cell embedded in the leadership of ByteDance.
With a duty, lawmakers say, to make sure TikTok abides by the political direction of the CCP.
TikTok can continue to exist in the United States as long as it's not effectively controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
TikTok pushing back, claiming the bill violates the First Amendment, even encouraging users to call their representatives. People we spoke to had mixed feelings.
What do you think people your age would think if just all of a sudden TikTok was off their phones?
They wouldn't know what to do. That's real.
There's no need to get rid of it. I think that's overblown, but if it goes away, people will find somewhere else to post videos and hang out.
A lot of kids will switch over to Instagram Reels.
Would you be upset? Probably. China can access your data. Is that something that would bother you?
Yes.
Yeah. But you would be upset if TikTok was gone?
I would.
Mixed signals on this issue also in the presidential race. President Biden's campaign has a TikTok account, but his administration supports the legislation. As for former President Trump, he supported a TikTok ban when he was in office, but now defends the platform because he says he doesn't want a ban to benefit Facebook, a site he's long criticized. At this moment, it appears enough of Washington is on board with a ban. At the pace things are going, it could soon be a reality. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atrel Nishar reporting.
Today was a little bit of a warmer than normal day for us. We had 68 degrees today. Tomorrow, we're going to drop that high temperature down almost 10 degrees. I think we'll be talking about highs in the upper 50s for tomorrow. Going with 59, the high temperature right here in Nashville. So it is going to be cooler. That's going to put us pretty close to normal, though. Again, our normal high temperature for tomorrow is 60 degrees. There is also that rain chance. I think the best rain chance, though, comes through the overnight hours tonight into very early tomorrow morning. A pretty good chance for that, too, as that cold front moves in. Beyond that, though, for the rest of Saturday, the second half of Saturday through Sunday, and the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I think we're going to keep it all dry. We don't see our next best rain chance until Thursday, and as of right now, that's only about a 20% chance, so not looking all that great for Thursday of next week either. We're going to cool off as we head through the rest of the weekend. 59 the high tomorrow, 55 on Sunday. That's going to be the coolest day. Monday, we're already back to the lower 60s. Tuesday, we're back to the lower 70s, and we only get warmer for the next couple of days after that. Wednesday, Thursday, mid to upper 70s. Friday, we drop down, but only a little bit. We're back down to 70 on Friday. Taking it out the following week, this is March 16th through the 22nd. Slightly cooler than normal, or a slightly better chance for cooler than normal temperatures across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. And then for that same time frame, as far as the precip goes, I think we're looking at just slightly drier conditions than normal across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky, too.
Still to come, Chevy drivers try.
Get a rate based on you with DriveWise and the Allstate app.
You're watching Fox 17 WZTV Nashville.
Looking ahead to Sunday in the NASCAR Cup race in Phoenix, Arizona. Heather Williams tonight to show us what we can expect at the Shriners Children's 500.
I'm Heather Williams on the backstretch, and here's a look at some of the storylines you need to keep an eye on as NASCAR heads to Phoenix this weekend. So far this year, Chevys have dominated, winning all 3 races so far this season. So, is there a reason for Ford and Toyota to panic?
Heather, I cannot say, oh, definitely not. I cannot say that because it hasn't been the same Chevrolet team or the same guy.
This 2-race road swing we're on is called the West Coast Swing, and it's really when drivers and teams feel like they learn the most about how competitive their cars will be during the season.
I'm looking forward to that, though, right? Like having a chance to go to these racetracks for the first time, see where us as a Chevrolet as a manufacturer stand.
The track at Phoenix is unique because it is flat and it is short, much different than the 3 races they've run so far this year.
Phoenix is completely different. It's a 1 mile that's really, it's kind of a short track on steroids, kind of.
You can hear my complete conversation with our expert Chris Carrier as well as driver Daniel Hemrick right now on the backstretch. You can find that on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. On the backstretch, I'm Heather Williams.
Our coverage of the Shriners Children's 500 Sunday afternoon begins at 1:30. The actual race starts at 2:30. You can see it all right here on Fox 17 News.
And we have a cold front that is headed our way. That is about to be moving through at least our northwestern areas. That'll leave us with a better chance for some showers and a few storms. We'll time it all out here in just a bit.
Also had very different needs, the gender divide when it comes to exercise.
$79 a month or get 4.49% APR or $1,000 bonus cash. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today.
This Fox 17 This Morning newscast is sponsored by Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Tonight in Connect to Congress, Mid-State Congressman Andy Ogle says the House and Senate need to take a hard look at how migrants are being brought into the U.S.
Illegal immigration costs Tennessee almost $1 billion a year. That's B as in Bravo. And so that's money that should be going to our school kids, going to our veterans. And you still have 22 suicides a day with our veterans, but yet we're spending $1 billion on illegal immigration.
Meantime, 6th District Congressman John Rose from over on the Plateau taking a critical look at the president's State of the Union speech. He calls it more of a campaign rally than a plan for America's future.
I think the speech was empty of the message that would unite America. The chants in the House chamber were for 4 more years. In past presidents, you would hear USA. So it's about more time to be in power.
Connect to Congress is our way of keeping you informed about what your members of Congress are up to in Washington. This week on Full Measure, the wind power part of the Biden administration's green energy initiative is running into some troubles. And could chemicals in our food and the environment play a role in what makes us sick? Our Cheryl Atkinson with a preview of this Sunday's Full Measure.
Coming up this week on Full Measure, wind power plays a big part in the Biden administration's green energy goals, but those goals are meeting with some strong headwinds. We'll look at the direction momentum for wind energy is blowing. As America becomes sicker, much research lays blame on chemicals in our food and environment. We'll look into a 5-year investigation of a top dietitians group that's giving advice while taking money from the industries implicated. And after more than 2 centuries since America's first whistleblower law, we'll examine some of the heroic acts of truth-telling that changed the course of history. All this week on Full Measure.
And you can watch Full Measure Sunday mornings at 7:30 right here on Fox 17. In health news tonight, new research suggests that women may be able to spend less time on cardio workouts for heart health, while men may need to do a little more time on the treadmill. Medical reporter Barbara Morse tonight with the story.
The authors definitely put forward a few possible explanations.
One, anatomical differences between men and women.
Women have lower lean muscle mass, they have smaller muscle fibers.
Men on average have larger muscle fibers and proportionately larger hearts.
Also, women tend to have a later onset of cardiovascular disease than men do.
Whatever the explanation, Dr. Verity Ramirez, a preventive cardiologist, says this should be a call to action. According to this report,
it looked like for both sexes, the cardiovascular disease benefit plateaus, both of them around 300 minutes a week. And that really looks like where men also sort of derive the most benefit. For women, it was around 140 minutes.
So 5 hours for men versus just under 2.5 hours for women. 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week is what's recommended. At that rate,
you're definitely going to get a better reduction in cholesterol, a better reduction in blood pressure if you're combining multiple things within your lifestyle. But certainly exercising alone, does have benefit on cholesterol and on blood pressure.
And walking counts.
Brisk walking counts. So I tell folks that anything that gets their heart rate up, they can still talk, but would have a hard time singing a full song, counts as moderate intensity exercise.
The big takeaway, says Dr. Ramirez, is that women stand to gain a lot of benefit from any exercise, including aerobic and weight bearing, as do men. Men just may need more of it. I'm medical reporter Barbara Morse.
Barbara, thank you. Turning to the weather, when the weekend comes, we all like things to be nice, but here lately it's been one day nice, one day not so nice. How's it going to be?
I think we're going to kind of get a little bit of that, but all in one day on Saturday. The first part of it a little bit rainy, and then we get a little bit nicer throughout the rest of the day. Sunday looks good, just a little bit cooler than what we have seen recently, but this cold air ain't going to stick around for too long. We're going to get warmer as we head on into next week. Temperature is going to be going to the 70s, so it is about to get a lot warmer, going to feel really good. Here's your live live look over Broadway. Pretty crowded night out there on Broadway. Temperatures have been great if you do have any outdoor plans. 60 degrees, that's our current temperature right now in Nashville. It is 9:49 right now. That is the normal high temperature for this time of year. So today was overall a warm day. It was pretty cloudy too, and that rain came through in the morning, a little bit in the afternoon, but we did see a semi-decent dry period earlier today too. Temperatures right now 50s and 60s for most locations. 61 in McMinnville, 59 in Tullahoma, 58 that's the current temperature in Dickson, 61 the current temperature up there in Clarksville. We have this cold front that is now just starting to enter parts of northwest Tennessee. That's that blue line you see right there. That's going to keep on sliding to the east as we head through the overnight hours, and that's going to help increase our rain chance a little bit as we head through the overnight into early tomorrow morning. We'll likely see some showers develop with that, maybe a few thunderstorms too, but no severe weather expected, so that's good news. Here's a radar loop from over the past 3 hours. You can see those showers that were along and west of Interstate 65 through this evening. Those cleared on out of here. We're starting to see a little bit more of that fill on in up there in our northwestern areas, just that kind of diagonal light green shading on the radar. That's going to start to get a little bit heavier though as we head through the next several hours. So as we head on closer to midnight, we're going to start to see more of that fill in. That's going to push in closer to Interstate 65. That's going to give us that rain chance right here in Nashville, also portions of southern Kentucky too. That'll keep on sliding to the northeast just a little bit a couple hours later. That's the 2 o'clock tomorrow morning picture. We could see a couple of pockets of some moderate rainfall, maybe a little bit of lightning, but no bad thunderstorms for us through the overnight hours. This is 4 o'clock, still just a little bit more of that. That'll keep on sliding to the east. The second little round tries to move through with that, and that's going to push off across the plateau around 7, 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then by about noon, I think most areas are going to be clear. If you see any rain in the afternoon hours, that's just going to be some of those light straggling showers. Really not expecting a whole lot with that. Severe weather outlook, that is going to stay to the south of us. They still have that level 1 and level 2 risk for areas south of here. That's for the overnight hours, and then for tomorrow, that is going to stay to the south and to the east of here. So again, not going to have to deal with any severe weather for tonight. Might even wake up to a little bit of patchy frost on Sunday morning and Monday morning. Mid-50s for us on Sunday, lower 60s on Monday, and then we'll be in the lower 70s Tuesday, Thursday. We could have highs going all the way to the upper 70s.
Still to come tonight on Fox 17 News at 9, on the decline. We'll tell you what's being blamed for America's worsening credit scores. And almost 2/3 of fourth graders across the country struggle to read at grade level. That's why Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with RIF.
Kinds of awesome. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Eurostone. This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
New tonight, police charge a 40-year-old man in Williamson County with stealing mail at the Landings apartment complex in Franklin. Police say this is Andrew Getz that was caught on camera breaking into the mail lockers. He's charged with mail theft, defacing government property, and simple drug possession. Police actually credit media coverage with helping to lead them to Getz, who they say lives at the complex. In the economy tonight, credit scores are on the decline, and it's painting a negative financial picture for so many Americans. Analytics company FICO reports its average score fell to 717 in October, which is down from a high of 718 last July. Now, it doesn't sound like much. America's credit score is still near record highs, but this marks the first decline in those scores in 10 years. Experts are blaming Americans with an increasing debt load, and that's causing them to miss payments. The New York Federal Reserve also reports a surge in late payments on car loans and credit cards. To protect and serve, why Metro Police are spotlighting women.
Some people just know that the best rate for you is a rate based on you, not one based on whatever this person is doing. Get a rate based on you with DriveWise and the Allstate app.
In your community, today is International Women's Day, and the Metro Police Department taking the opportunity to honor the women who work for them. Take a look. This is a picture of just some of the women who work in the Metro Police Department. Pretty good sized group there. Some of these women are obviously police officers. You see them in uniform. Others serve in positions that are behind the scenes, but department leaders say each and every one plays an important role in helping to keep Nashville residents and our visitors safe. Looking ahead to Sunday morning now in Nashville in Focus. This week our panel is talking about the creation of the East Bank Authority that's in progress. Members of this authority would help to oversee the development of some of the 500 acres around the new Dome Titan Stadium. Mayor Freddie O'Connell asking for it, and he's suggesting the state appoint the majority, I should say, of the members.
Authorities tend to remove politics from, whether it's the airport, whether it's the sports, and I think that's the key here, and I hope that's part of the motivation. If you remove the just outrageous politics from that development, it may make a smoother transition, it may make for a smoother development, and people may be a lot more interested in investing in it.
Now, other topics this week include the election on Tuesday, efforts to repeal a state business tax, and questions about how much Governor Lee would personally benefit from that. That's coming up Sunday morning at 6:30 on Nashville in Focus.
Who's to blame for you losing an hour of sleep this weekend? Well, Congress, of course. I'm Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. More on that story coming up.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
We begin tonight with crisis in the classroom and improving graduation rates at Metro's school, Glencliff High School, once labeled a dropout factory. In fact, graduation rates at Glencliff High are up 7% in the last year, but educators know there's still a lot more work to do. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller now live with reaction from the Glencliff faculty and the issues that still need to be addressed.
Yes, Scott, well, the literacy coach at Glencliff High School says that most of their issues actually have to do with external factors, such as they say the lack of affordable housing here in Nashville and lack of daycare options, more so than what's actually going on inside of the school. Now, MNPS gave us updated numbers today, and they say that graduation rates have increased 7% to up to 60% today, but they are still well below the district average of 81%. Sam Singer, a literacy coach at Glencliff High School, and her colleagues are trying to change the image of Glencliff High School by exposing the challenges they face. Singer explains they are dealing with housing insecurity, limited daycare, and having to work to help their families, and don't have the resources to keep them enrolled.
We need to make sure that the infrastructure of our city supports children and families so that those children can be children and go to school.
J.C. Bowman with the Professional Educators of Tennessee says instead of sending out letters, the school district and the schools need to work together and figure out how to fix these problems. Bowman says in order to increase the rate of graduation and just to increase the school experience overall. Reporting live from North Nashville, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Crisis in the Classroom is Fox 17 News' ongoing commitment to our viewers to expose problems in our schools and to look for solutions. If you have a story you'd like to see us cover, send an email to news@fox17.com telling us about that, or you can phone our tip line at 615-266-4149.
Sometimes it feels like an issue of pointing fingers.
In Operation Crime and Justice tonight, Fox 17 News going one-on-one with the district councilman from North Nashville to talk about crime concerns. Fox 17 News has been tracking issues around Buchanan Street for more than a year now. Residents complain about hearing gunshots almost nightly, people loitering around a local market and liquor store. That's what you're seeing here. Now, some blame the issue on an abandoned building near the market, but the councilman, Brandon Taylor, says it's really a complex issue.
How do we, one, help these people, and the people that don't want to be helped, what do we do to help manage that? If they hang out at the store and they loiter at the store, at some point, if that store goes away, they go somewhere else, and then it may not be your problem now, but then as a council member, it may be another neighbor's problem.
Fox 17 News will continue to stay on top of these concerns and continue to press city leaders for solutions to them. Staying with Operation Crime and Justice, the state trial of 4 Memphis police officers charged with second-degree murder and the beating death of Tyree Nichols is postponed until a federal civil rights trial wraps up. The judge in the case granted a defense motion to avoid parallel prosecutions. Tyree Nichols was badly beaten by officers following a traffic stop. That beating all caught on the officer's body cameras. That's what you're seeing there. He died 3 days later, the medical examiner says, of blows to the head. The department later concluded there was no legal basis for that traffic stop. Continuing coverage now on the search for missing Sumner County teenager Sebastian Rogers. The Sumner County Sheriff's Department says yesterday's search of a landfill in western Kentucky yielded no new leads or evidence. The 15-year-old, who has autism, is a freshman at Beach High School in the Shackle Island community. Monday will mark 2 weeks since he disappeared. Law enforcement searched night and day for a full 7 days before shifting their focus this past Monday to a criminal investigation. To see all of our previous reporting on the Rogers case, go to fox17.com and search Sebastian. Continuing coverage tonight as the Fort Campbell soldier charged with selling military secrets to China pleads not guilty today in federal court. Sergeant Corbin Schultz is an Army intelligence analyst. Investigators say he was paid $42,000 over time for the national defense information he sold to China. Schultz will be back in court next week.
We were cloudy, a little bit breezy today too, and warmer than normal. We had high temperatures go to the upper 60s, 68. That was the official high temperature right here in Nashville. Average high temperature for this time of year is 60, so we were 8 degrees above that, and we're still holding on to some of that warmth too. A lot of people out there on a Broadway, and honestly, it is not too cold right now. 59 degrees, that's our current temperature right here in Nashville. We still have the clouds. Those clouds are going to stick around with us as we head through the rest of the night, and we're also going to start to finally see that rain chance begin to go back up some. That's going to come with this cold front. That's the cold front right there. That'll keep on sliding to the east, moving across Middle Tennessee and southern Kentucky as we head through the overnight hours, and that will help set off a few more showers, maybe a few thunderstorms too. The good news though, no severe weather for us expected for tonight. You can already start to see some of that green beginning to pop up on radar. This is just the very beginning of it. That'll keep on sliding east through the next several hours, and that will leave that rain chance in place for the overnight for a good portion of us right here in Middle Tennessee. Winds are fairly light right now. Earlier today, though, they were breezy, and they just keep on kind of calming down. 10-mile-an-hour sustained winds down in Tullahoma, 7 in Crossville, 8-mile-an-hour sustained winds up there in Cookeville. Current temperatures are still in the 50s and lower 60s, depending on where you're at. 59 in Tullahoma, we have lower 60s. McMinnville, 61 right there. 57 Columbia, also in Lewisburg. 62, that's the current temperature up in Clarksville. So as we head through the rest of the night, more showers and a few thunderstorms with the help of that cold front that it's going to be moving through. Cooler for the next couple of days behind that cold front, not terribly cold though. And then a very nice warm up is on the way for us as we head on into next week. Plenty of sunshine for the start of it too. I'll show you that coming up on the 7-day in just a bit.
Also ahead on Fox 17 News at 10.
The Big Bang Theory. Monday at 6 on Fox 17.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Tennessee Home Buyers.
In national news tonight, President Biden trying to keep the momentum going after his State of the Union address last night. Democrats are hoping that his speech puts questions about his energy to rest. Juliet Benbrook tonight taking a look at what's next for Mr. Biden.
President Joe Biden mentioned his predecessor more than a dozen times during his State of the Union address Thursday night.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, my predecessor,
During his speech, Biden pushed for abortion rights, gun safety legislation, and immigration reform. He called out Republicans for refusing to take up the bipartisan border security bill after former President Donald Trump urged them not to pass it.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together.
Biden's address served as an unofficial kickoff for the general election that is still 8 months away. The president travels to the battleground state of Pennsylvania for a campaign event on Friday as he prepares to take on Trump, who is pushing back against Biden's message.
We cannot take it any longer as a country.
This as the Republican National Committee faces a shakeup. Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel is stepping down.
It is a little bittersweet to be with all of you here today as I step down as chair after 7 years of working with you all.
McDaniel will be replaced with Trump's endorsed candidate, North Carolina GOP Chairman Michael Whatley. And the former president's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, will serve as co-chair.
Still to come tonight, beyond the battlefield, two major threats to America's female veterans. And signs of alien life and UFOs, the Pentagon weighing in on extraterrestrials.
And we have a cold front that is just starting to move in. That's going to keep on.
Good thing there's Resolve. Love the love, resolve the mess.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by Zander Insurance.
A tire falling off a United plane right after it took off from San Francisco International bound for Osaka, Japan. United Flight 35, a Boeing 777-200, was immediately diverted to Los Angeles International, where it landed safely. In a statement, United saying, quote, "The aircraft is designed to land safely with missing or damaged tires. Once the flight lands in Los Angeles, we'll arrange a new aircraft to continue this trip for our customers." As for the tire that fell off, it landed in an employee parking lot, damaging several vehicles. Luckily, no one was hurt. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has designated an LSD-based drug for anxiety relief. An initial study has shown that a single dose of the drug could provide lasting relief. The LSD therapy still needs to go through the standard FDA approval process and will soon enter phase 3 of clinical trials. And a plant-based hot dog is hitting stores in time for the summer grilling season. Oscar Mayer's line of vegan-friendly hot dogs and sausages was created in partnership with a company called The Knot Company, which specializes in plant-based alternatives to animal-based products. Parent company Kraft Heinz is predicting the U.S. market for plant-based foods will grow from under $9 billion last year to $19 billion in 2030. In New York, Jerry Willis, Fox Business.
Across America, the number of female veteran suicides in our country staggering, especially when compared to their male and civilian counterparts. Alexandria Hoff tonight breaking down a new report about women veterans' desperate need for both mental health and suicide prevention support.
Women are the fastest growing demographic of veterans.
But sadly, female veterans are dying by suicide at an alarming rate, increasing more than 24% from 2020 to 2021. That's 4 times higher than their male counterparts and significantly higher than the 2.6% rise for non-veteran women, according to new research conducted by the nonprofit group Disabled American Veterans.
We found that certain factors put women veterans at higher risk for suicide, things like military sexual trauma, which is inclusive of sexual harassment or sexual assault. 1 in 5 women veterans report experiencing intimate partner violence.
Substance abuse and mental health conditions related to their reproductive health are other factors unique to female veterans that contribute to their staggering rates of suicide.
And when you layer all of these things on top of exposure to things like diagnoses like combat-related PTSD, it really does become the perfect storm.
The organization's report identifying what they call critical gaps in the Department of Veterans Affairs, offering more than 50 legislative and policy recommendations to improve access to gender-specific mental health care for the more than 650,000 female veterans using the VA system, including better military sexual trauma screenings and treatment, tweaking the suicide intervention model for female veterans, and improved access for women veterans in rural areas.
We understand that some things are, not going to happen very quickly, and things might not happen overnight. Some of our policy recommendations will take some time, but others can be done pretty quickly.
The VA and Department of Defense continues to prioritize the health and well-being of the nation's service members and veterans, providing clinical intervention and focusing on outreach and support from family, friends, and communities.
It's on all of us to end the stigma of asking for help and support when we or someone we know is feeling distressed or anxious or isolated.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 988. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
In science and technology tonight, the Pentagon releasing its extensive study into UFO sightings dating back nearly a century. This is a talker. The report was actually ordered by members of Congress. The Defense Department analyzed all of the reported sightings of unidentified flying objects. They found no evidence of alien life, no evidence of government reverse engineering of extraterrestrial technology. Instead, the report says most of these sightings were just ordinary objects or the result of some sort of misidentification. But as you might expect, some people are having trouble trusting this report.
The Aero Office used a very rigorous analytical scientific approach to investigate all past U.S. government efforts, all claims by interviewees. They were granted access at the highest levels to all information. None of the agencies that they spoke with prevented them from getting any of the information that they needed to do.
Last summer, you may remember a retired Air Force intelligence officer seen here testify the U.S. was concealing a program to retrieve and reverse engineer UFO technology. The Pentagon denies any of that was true. New tonight, the creator of Dragon Ball, one of the most popular Japanese comics of all time, has passed away. Akira Tamayura started writing Dragon Ball back in 1984. This series has sold millions of copies around the world, spawned popular television shows, movies, and even video games. Toriyama died on March the 1st following a blood clot in his brain. He was 68.
The weather today was really not too bad for us. It was warmer than normal for this time of year, but it was a little bit cloudy, also a little bit breezy at times too. For tonight though, that rain chance is going to start to pick back up. Some areas already seeing a little bit of that rain moving in. Broadway, not seeing any of that rain. Here's your live look over Broadway again, and it is a pretty busy night out there on this Friday night. On Broadway, a lot of folks out there walking around. The weather has been pretty good, though, for any of your outdoor plans tonight. 59 degrees. That's our current temperature right here in Nashville. Still pretty cloudy. We're going to stay cloudy as we head through the rest of the night to also increase that rain chance as well. Temperatures are in the 50s and 60s most locations. 54 Crossville coming in a little cooler. 56 Cookeville. Dickson at 58 and 62 in Clarksville. 58 Murfreesboro. 57. That's the current temperature over in Lebanon. So overall, not too bad. This cold front is going to keep on sliding to the east as we head through the rest of the night. Right now, most of the rain is still to the east of us. We are going to start to see some of those showers develop along that cold front, though, as it moves through. Maybe even a couple of thunderstorms as well. And you're seeing the very beginning of that right now. This line of green that's popping up right there on the radar. That's going to keep on sliding to the east, get a little bit more widespread as we head through tonight into very early tomorrow morning. So as we hit about midnight, more of that develops. It pushes in closer to Interstate 65 too. That's going to keep on moving east. This is the 2 o'clock picture. Still more of those just kind of scattered showers along that diagonal line along the cold front, extending from parts of the northeastern areas of the viewing area all the way down to parts of southwestern areas in Middle Tennessee. This is 4 o'clock Saturday morning. More of those showers move through, and then by 7, I think we might just kind of see that little second round that's going to push across the plateau, maybe bringing in some moderate, maybe just a couple of pockets of heavy rainfall. But overall, no severe weather expected, and that is going to clear on out of here fairly quickly too. So for the rest of Saturday afternoon, I think most areas will be dry. If you see any rain on Saturday afternoon, just some of those light showers. Nothing really too bad for you though. Those clouds are going to clear out as we head on into Sunday. Sunday is shaping up to be a really nice day, but it is going to be a little bit cooler with high temperatures going back down to the lower to mid 50s. Severe weather risk for tonight. It's going to stay well to the south, so that is some good news. You're not going to have to worry about any sort of severe weather threat for tonight. Same goes for early tomorrow morning as that line continues through. That severe weather threat is going to stay to the south and east of us throughout the day tomorrow, and we will not have to deal with any of those strong to severe thunderstorms. As far as rainfall amounts go, I think we could pick up about an inch depending on where you're at. That's going to be on the higher side. This model might be overdoing it just a little bit, but where that cold front moves through, that'll be where the best rain chance is as it continues to move east. 51 degrees, your low temperature for tonight, and for your 7-day forecast, mid 50s on Sunday, lower 60s Monday. We're up to the upper 70s Thursday.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
This time-lapse shows a perfectly formed shelf cloud passing over Mississippi. These types of clouds are usually associated with a line of storms. They're often preceded by wind and then followed by rain. Compare that to these asperitas clouds over Auburn, Alabama. They're characterized by a wave-like appearance, and as you can see, they can look very dramatic depending on the cloud thickness and structure.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
who's to blame for that?
You won't find that anywhere else. Make your outdoor space better than ever at B.F. Myers Furniture.
This Fox 17 newscast is sponsored by the Nashville Predators.
Daylight savings times goes into effect this weekend. When you go to bed Saturday night, spring forward. As Fox News' Chad Pergram reports tonight, there is an ongoing effort in Congress to keep us all on the same time, all the time.
Time doesn't change. It's finite. The sands of time forever flowing. Yet Congress can change the time, which is why we change our clocks twice a year. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution grants Congress the authority to fix the standard of weights and measures. That's why the Senate passed a bill 2 years ago to permanently park the country on daylight saving time year-round.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered.
And the Senate voted to abandon standard time, but it wasn't a sign of the times. With wars raging, illegal immigration surging, time expired on the bill in the House.
I think daylight saving times is the least of our worries.
The time is not, I think, not one of the ones that people would bring up as being a something on top of their minds.
But we do have a few other things that I'm really concerned about, like saving democracy.
But everyone complains about losing an hour when we spring forward.
I'm always afraid I'm going to miss church on that Sunday morning we make the switch.
I'll be catching a flight early in the morning on Sunday morning, so I want to make sure my clocks are right so I don't miss my flight.
That's why some lawmakers say halting the biennial clock change is an idea whose time has come. A bipartisan bill by Massachusetts Democrat Ed Markey and Florida Republican Marco Rubio would do just that.
It's hard on business people. It's hard on workers when you're shifting the time. There's a loss in efficiency and productivity. So, let's pick one.
But clocks keep ticking.
Father Time remains undefeated.
Except when it comes to Capitol Hill. Only Congress can turn back time, which is why 2 o'clock becomes 1 o'clock in the fall. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Prevent and empower. How's that for a class in school? I'm Liz Bonus. We're going to share why domestic.
You guys have been around for such a long time and you have a reputation in the community. The settlement that was, achieved, it's like the start of a new life.
In education news tonight, a school-based program to help young people learn to spot and stop domestic violence. Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus tonight to explain how it can be taught nationwide.
Hey there, hello to you. It may not be what we think of as a traditional subject in school, but those who care for victims of domestic violence say if we don't prevent and empower young people, they may not recognize the early warning signs.
Your partner randomly stops by your job, even though you told them it made you feel uncomfortable.
The hope is that after this 5-part Prevent and Empower program being offered here at Ohio's Clark Montessori High School by prevention educators from Women Helping Women.
The mission of Women Helping Women is to prevent gender-based violence and empower all survivors.
Every student will know the difference between green, yellow, and red flags when it comes to dating, violence, and relationships.
I've experienced some red flags that I didn't know were red flags at the time. I was just like, oh, it's nothing, like he'll grow, he'll fix, like he'll get himself together and stuff like that.
The program is a national model for helping teens not become a statistic.
Statistically speaking, in the United States, 1 in 3 teens are involved in some type of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse.
Prevent and Empower is about setting healthy boundaries.
Like a pathway to help them have that conversation at home, kind of bridge the gap.
And letting students know they always have a safe space.
It's made them more aware of what to look for and also how to help a friend, because a lot of times they don't know what to do.
You see, the definition of empowerment is to give someone the authority or power to do something.
We want to break the cycle of abuse before it gets started.
Which means if even one student here stops a behavior before it becomes unhealthy or abusive, mission accomplished. If someone you know does need help, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is available 24/7 in multiple languages at 800-799-7233. We also have more information on Women Helping Women online. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Liz, thank you. All right, folks, the weekend is officially here, and we've just, opened the door, and you're going to set the table.
It is here, and it's going to get a little bit cooler too. We have a cold front moving through right now. That's going to increase the rain chance for the next several hours. Also bringing some cooler air, upper 50s for tomorrow, mid 50s high temperature Sunday, and then we're back to the 70s